Well, good morning folks, and welcome back to the channel. Today's first job, I'm going to be sowing the parsnips. I've just removed the black cover from the bed, ready to prepare the planting stations. And I don't know whether you can see here, there's still got quite a lot of growth of mare's tail that's actually come up through the soil. Now this has been covered probably since last September, total darkness, and it's still finding its way up. So before I do anything regards to the parsnips, I'm going to give these a light spraying with a glyphosate weed killer. Right, I've got the trusty marker board in place, and as usual I'll be doing 8 parsnips in a row and 4 rows. A little bit different to normal, I'll be marking the holes, but rather than producing the complete hole by banging the pole in to get the conical effect, I'll be using my new soil auger bit to produce the bulk of the hole and then finish it off with a pole to get the taper. That'll not only be faster, but it'll be also a lot easier. As usual, if you'd like to see how I do parsnips from start to finish, from sowing the seed to harvesting, there's a little video and the link will pop up here, and click on that if you want to have a look in more detail. See you in a minute. This tool is really the thing for the job. A couple of words of warning. First of all, most drills will have a thing called a torque setting on, where you can change the torque and it'll bring in a ratchet to actually make the tool stop spinning. And with this, I'll put it on the low setting because it's got a quite high power battery. And the other thing is when you start drilling, I find it easier to just keep lifting the tool out of the ground, like it's known as a pecking action. Just keep going down there. Otherwise, if you have it on the high torque setting, it can pull the tool right the way down into the ground and actually jar your wrist. So do be careful with that. But as I say, the speed of this is fantastic. I'm going to carry on and finish the other 29 holes. That's certainly made light work of that. What I'm going to do now is put the metal pole in and just try and form a little cone mouth at the top. Saying that, it's just starting raining, so I may even cover up and stop the holes from collapsing. This is what I class as the therapeutic part of the job. Compost I've got in here is this last few grains of the Bathgates multi-purpose with reduced peat. I'm just putting it through the sieve to make it fine. I must say this is the easiest way of sowing parsnips using the current method of the conical holes. That auger bit really made a huge difference. That's an 80mm, but they do them in different sizes. I think there's 60, 50, 40 and even 30. And if you're doing something like planting a lot of bulbs, daffodils or something in the autumn, whacking that into the ground, putting the bulb in, jobs are good and it's really, really quick. Well worth looking at. So there we are, 32 stations ready for action. I'm still a bit astounded how quickly that went using that auger bit, but nonetheless I'm going to give these a good soaking now using the super soil mix. Let it rest overnight, and hopefully in the morning, weather permitting, we'll start planting or sowing the seeds. We finished yesterday's video off by preparing the planting holes for the parsnips, and I give it a good watering with the super soil. I've covered it overnight, so all's left now is to sow the seeds. But before that, I'd just like to come out first thing in the morning and enjoy the things waking up. More traffic gets on as the time goes on, but it's the birds sing that I like to listen to. A quick note about the video that I did previously uploaded. I had a question regarding when I was planting the onions. I didn't provide enough information regarding spacing and stuff like that. Well, you may or may not be aware, I've done a few videos in what I call the Growing Made Easy series, and that there is how I grow certain vegetables from start to finish, and everything in detail is in there, spacings, timings. Producing those videos does take a long while because I have to trawl through 300 plus videos and then pick out the selected parts throughout the year. And that's why when I'm doing stuff like this, and this parsnips one will be included, I may skip over certain parts, but I'll put a reference in where I can say go and have a look at this video. And if you're just watching it on the TV, the smart link doesn't come up. Below in the show notes there's also links in there, so you need to go onto like a phone, iPad or a laptop or something like that, and you click on there, and the specific video for that vegetable, you'll get as much detail as you need to actually produce the crop. Right, I'm going to finish this, then we can go start sowing. As you saw earlier, we produced these deep holes and filled with really fine compost. What I'll do now is put a little depression in each station, around about 1 centimetre deep, on the centre of the hole, and that will concentrate the seeds in one area. I'll just top that up then with sifted soil and a bit of vermiculite, and then we can fit the planting rings. There's one other thing that I forgot to mention and all. Parsnips can be a little bit temperamental in germinating, and that's why I prefer each year to buy a fresh pack of seeds, usually with a 2-year shelf life. And obviously the number of seeds in here, there's way too many than I'll need for this bed. But the surplus this year, what I'm going to do is find a bit of open ground, make sure the soil's got a really good tilt on, draw a line and sprinkle the seeds along. Now the idea of that is taking the parsnips as little baby parsnips, not going to be champion size or probably all straight, there might be a fork or two in them, but who cares. And in the meantime, these hopefully will be grown into a decent size. I put a bit of netting over the top there, support cage, and all that is purely protected against, say, the foxes and that, until they start showing up. I will be putting the collars on probably tomorrow, but first of all I've got to clear them out. I've still got some parsnip jammed in from last season. Well, the big greenhouse cleared out continues, more and more space being created. I've got these dahlias out now. There's a mixture of the bishop's children, redskin mixed and pom-pom mixed, and I'm going to be planting those out amongst these sweet peas. As you can see, I've put a few dahlias here and there, mixed the varieties around so it's not too monotonous. Still quite a bit of space, and I've still got dahlias left. I'll probably pass them on. But in here I've got some more cosmos and a few other things to go in, so it should be coloured up quite nicely during the season. For those of you that grow potatoes in containers, you'll know it's a constant battle in keeping them hydrated. And it was while I was having a look around on Instagram, I spotted a post from Gerald Stratford. He's the guy what shot to fame through, I think it might have been Twitter or something, that his nephew. Anyway, I saw he'd got his potatoes in big tubs, containers, and what he'd done, he'd threaded a soaker hose right the way through the middle, zigzag. And I've done exactly the same, and it's amazing how this does water these plants. The good bonus about this, if we've got any blight in the area, the two things which combine for blight to attack is moisture and high humidity, heat. So these can actually get watered without splashing the foliage, which is a great bonus. So well worth thinking about. I'm going to finish this one off in the greenhouse, and say May has predominantly been planting out, as you've probably seen with the lot of videos that's come out in quick succession. The seed sowing has dropped off a bit, but now, although I'm just about to start to go into summer, I'm already thinking about what's going to happen in the autumn, winter and into the following next year. And for that, I'm going to be looking at some cabbages, cauliflowers and leeks. I'll just have a quick look at the individual seeds I'm sowing. First of all, I'll start off with the cabbage. This one's an old favourite of mine. It's called Ormskirk, and it's a December harvest onwards. Then we have the next one is one called Cordoba. Now this is listed as the first clubroot resistant Savoy type cabbage, and that's a harvest from between October and January. Next one, another old favourite of mine, January King 3, a good reliable variety that is, and that's harvest late November onwards. And finally, another good one, Tundra. I've grown this for many years, quite a tough one this is, and a harvest November onwards. And for the cauliflowers, I've got one called Triumphant. I've grown this many times. That's a December, January type harvest. And the new one for me this year, I've never ever grown this one before, and this one's called Autumn Giant, and that's harvest anytime September to November. The brassicas are sown just exactly like I normally do the brassicas, and I'll be doing those in this normal cell tray. And also I'll be sowing a couple of varieties of leeks. There's one called Stocky F1, which is a harvest November to March. And there's another one called Below Zero, which is supposed to be extremely tough against the bad weather, and that's harvest December to May. Now the reason I do two sowings of the leeks is because of the allium leaf miner, and there's two actual sessions where they're active. But in the West Midlands, it's very prolific because you almost have to net most things and all. In fact, I think it was first diagnosed, the allium leaf miner in the Midlands, and we say we get it a lot. So by doing the second sowing, I found I've had better crops come at the end of the year, because the second sowing, by the time they go out, it's missed the second phase of the leaf miner. So that's the reason I do it. I'll be sowing the leeks in this pot here. I'm not sure what size it is. It's fairly deep though. And because we've seen the worst of the bad weather, hopefully, I'm putting them in the cold frame to germinate, and just keep my eye on them there, just with the watering and that. There'll be a bit of shading on, and they should tick along nicely. So that's about it. As you can see, these cucumbers here, I'm desperate to go out, and I've almost cleaned the allotment greenhouse ready to get the auto watering system in there. So that's about it from me. I'm Nigel Dukes. You've been watching the MuddyBootz allotment channel. Many thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.